Hi everyone, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. I'm Madam Azima, and in today's lesson, we'll be learning all about how to give a simple and clear self introduction in English. If you're anything like me, I don't particularly enjoy talking about myself in a normal conversation. In fact, I prefer listening to other people. I let them take the spotlight. Unfortunately, there is no escaping the dreaded tell me about yourself question, especially in a job interview, an interview for a promotion, or at a conference where you are the speaker or presenter. What about at a networking event where you have to introduce yourself to strangers? Maybe you're a university student and you need to get through orientation week. Yes, you need to know how to introduce yourself to your new friends. Why can't they just follow you on Instagram and find out all about you there? So there you are, sitting up or standing in a circle, and all eyes are on you. What are you going to say? Well, let's find out in this lesson. It's called 7 Steps to Effectively Introduce Yourself. All right, let's get to know each other, shall we? So, step 1, greetings. So, you can start with hello or good morning, good afternoon, or good evening. Don't say good night because good night is basically farewell, it's a send off. Say good evening instead. Now, for Muslims, you can start with Assalamu alaikum or peace be upon you, or if you know a different language, it can be a hello in that particular language. You can also be informal with hi, hey, hiya. Now, if you want to say what's up, guys, that can be too informal. You can get away with it if you're among friends, you can say it to create laughter, but hi and hey is safe enough, okay? Step 2, tell us your name. You can either start immediately with your name or you can say this. Let me introduce myself, or allow me to introduce myself. And then you can say your name. I want to give you a side note though. In English speaking countries, it's common for them to introduce themselves with their first name. So if it's Rowena Smith, she'd say, I'm Rowena. If she does introduce herself as Rowena Smith, she'll expect you to call her Rowena, not Mrs. Smith, no matter the age. But if you're not sure what to call them and you want to be polite, you can ask them. Now, if you're familiar with James Bond, he often says the name's Bond, James Bond. But then, they would call him James or even Mr. Bond to remain formal. So after you say, let me introduce myself, you can then say, I'm your name, okay? I'm Azima, or I am Azima, or even my name's Azima. If you heard that, I said my name's Azima. You can help make it easy for people to say your name by saying it nice and clear. So don't rush your name, especially if it's a very long and complicated name. Like mine, Azima Shurfa Muhammad Shukri. Help them by saying, you may call me Zima, or just call me Azima. Now, moving on to step 3, this is where you can talk about location or nationality, basically where you're from. If you're speaking to people of different countries, different nationalities, right? You can say, I'm Malaysian. I'm originally from whatever country you're from. Or I was born in Malaysia but raised in another country. Okay? If you're speaking to locals, then just state the city. I'm from KL. Or state I live in Kuala Terengganu. That would be me. I'd say I'm from KL, but I live in Kuala Terengganu. I grew up in Penang, but now live in Kelantan, for example. Now, the next one, you can mention age, but this can be quite personal. So beware of cultural differences. So in Malaysia, it's almost normal to ask people's age, especially woman to woman. Even students ask their lecturers all the time. In my case, sometimes I tell them, sometimes I say old enough. But, just to be safe, it's not really polite to ask. So you do not need to share this information if you don't want to. In fact, in English speaking countries, it can be considered rude to ask. However, I think that in a job interview, age may be important for a particular job, so you should tell them. So here's what you can say: I'm 30. I'm 25 years old. If you don't want to be too exact, you can say, I'm in my mid 40s. I'm in my early 30s. I'm in my late 20s. Okay? Now, step 4, this is where you can mention your job. So basically, what do you do for a living? What line of work are you in? So you can mention the position and company. So you can say, I work at, or I work for, and then mention the company's name. So for me, it would be, I'm an English language instructor at My English Matters. And I can mention the company if I want to, okay, for the Shurfa Group. If you own your own business or you're a freelancer, you can say, I'm self-employed. If you're a student, you can say, I'm a student at name of university. So for example, I'm a student at UM. I'm a student at UNIZA. If you want to be specific about what you're majoring in, you can say, I'm majoring in engineering. Okay? Maybe you're about to enter college or university. You can say, I'm going to study at name of university. Now, what if you're a mother and you don't work? And I've heard people say, I'm a housewife. But there are alternative phrases to use. So you can try out, I'm a stay-at-home mum, or I'm a homemaker, or even I'm a wife and mother. Now, if you're about to find or look for another job, you can say, I am in between jobs. And if you're retired, you can say, I'm a retired teacher. Now, if you want to go deeper, especially for a job interview, an interview for a promotion where you need to show your expertise, then you can add some credentials and experience. So you can start with, I have. So, for example, I have 10 years of experience teaching English. So I have numbers of experience in name of field. I have worked in sales for the past 10 years. Or even, I have a PhD in name of field. Step 5, you can go into family. So this depends if you want to talk about your marital status, because it can be considered too personal, but that's up to you. So if it's me, I would say, I'm married and I have an 11-year-old daughter. Or I've been married for 13 years. Or I'm a happily married man. If you're engaged, you can even mention that, I'm engaged. To make it lighthearted, to have fun, you can even say, I'm still looking for the one. Or you're single and available. You can even say, I'm not seeing anyone. Now, it's not common to hear people announce things like, I'm a widow for female, or a widower for male, or I'm divorced, unless it's a get to know each other session. So it's more intimate. But if you don't want to mention this at all, then you do not need to mention this, okay? It's up to you. Now, step 6, hobbies and interests. So what's your hobby? What do you like to do in your spare time? So think about exciting things you do in your spare time. It could be, photography, drawing, cooking. baking, yoga? Do you play the piano? Do you play the guitar? Do you play golf well? Are you a badminton player? Do you do volunteer work, charity? Do you cook for the elderlies? Are you a Grab driver? Maybe you do voice recording for commercials. So you can start with my hobbies are. If you say my hobbies are, then you could name 2 things or more. But if it's just one, my hobby is. And or you could say, I'm interested in. I have a passion for. I am obsessed with. Okay. I am obsessed with essential oils and I make up my own skincare routine using essential oils. Or in my free time, I like to run by the beach. Or even you could use this, I'm into yoga. I'm into photography. Okay. As for me, I would say something like this. I'm a big fan of online education and I create online courses and programs with My English Matters. Now, step number 7, this is where it gets interesting. So you can mention interesting facts. What makes you unique and memorable? So for this particular session, you can stay positive and upbeat. Don't say things that make people say, oh no, stay away from this person. This person's scary. So don't say things like, I prefer watching Netflix than talking to people. Or I prefer cats than children. I mean, even if these are true, save this bit of information to your best friends only. Don't announce such things in public as it will just alarm people. You may mention weird things, quirky things, funny things that make people laugh. You can do that. So for example, I have a friend, she's OCD. So she can say, I'm an OCD and I have an obsession with cleaning my kitchen and I can't sleep until my kitchen is mopped clean and spotless. You can even say, I collect Tupperware or I collect vintage handbags. Or even something interesting like this. I used to be overweight and I've lost 30 kg from intermittent fasting, which is interesting because people might want to know more and they can ask you more about that. You can even say, I can't leave home without whatever, sunscreen. I can't leave home without essential oils. Or I sing and write my own songs for myself. Okay. So anything funny even. I have a twin sister, but I'm better looking than her. Okay, for example. For me, it would be, I love Harry Potter so much that I named my 2 cats after 2 of the characters, Rowena and Remus. Okay, and I have a friend who shared this with me. My husband is into Star Wars, that we named our son after Luke Skywalker. So for this step, the 7th step here, remember to make it relevant. It should be fun if it's a get to know each other session. But for a job interview, I recommend that you keep it related to a set of skills or talent that would be an asset for that position or that company. So for example, I love to try out new things and you can elaborate on that. I love to volunteer for, etc. Again, keep it positive. So there you have it, 7 steps to effectively introduce yourself. Greetings, name, location or nationality, job, family, hobbies and interests, and interesting facts. And my challenge to you is, using today's phrases, plan your self-introduction. This will make you confident and ready, and it also reminds yourself of who you are and how unique you are as an individual. So you can prepare a long self-introduction and a brief self-introduction. Just remember to keep it formal for a formal self-introduction and keep it light and fun for informal situations. So thank you for listening to today's lesson. Don't forget to subscribe to myenglishmatters.com to get weekly lessons and updates from the My English Matters team. Bye for now.